Hi, I'm Jenny, and I'm a recovering addict. I had a really normal childhood. My brother was 2 years older than me. We were very close. We went to the same school, rode the same bus. He was not just my brother, he was my best friend, and somewhat of a father figure since my parents were divorced at the age of 3. It was September 6th that was probably the worst day of my life, and I think that was the day that the addiction popped into my brain and kind of took over. My brother passed away September 6th, 2005. He was 18 years old and he was in a tragic car accident. It was very unexpected, and I was just so happened to be the one that was home that got the phone call. I couldn't get a hold of my mom, I couldn't get a hold of my dad. I felt like really alone at that moment, and I think what I describe as a hole began to build inside of me. As my family's moving on and their grieving process is continuing, I turned to what I knew best, and that was the party, the drugs. I'm an addict, and not everyone is. So when my friends got through that partying phase, I couldn't stop. I was stuck. I graduated from high school in 2006. I went straight to cosmetology school. I was pretty much determined to be the best hairstylist I could ever be. I had dreams of moving to New York. I had a lot of dreams. At 21, I went to my first rehab. I ended up getting right back into the same abusive relationship that I was in when I left, and I was addicted again within 2 weeks. So I had to hide and lie and remember my lies, and I did that for 2 more years. I met another guy that was an addict as well. We stayed clean together for a while. We decided to get an apartment together. He ended up relapsing, and I ended up getting pregnant. So at 7 months pregnant, I relapsed. At the end of 2013, I ended up getting arrested for the first time. I had never been in trouble before. I was sentenced to jail time. I did 3 days in Steubenville jail. On the second day, I met this girl, and we were talking, and that was the first person I had opened up to about being pregnant and about using and how I had ended up in jail. She said, "Let's just pray." I kind of laughed at her, and I said, "Okay." We sat down, and she put her hands on my shoulders, and she just prayed for me. 6 hours later, I started to go into labor. While I was sitting in the hospital, a nurse walked in, and we began talking. She looks at me and says, "Well, let's pray." Now, this was the second person that wants to pray for me within just a few days. A few hours later, the doctor walked in with all my test results. "Your son is fine. The heartbeat's great. Everything looks perfect. We'll be getting you out of here soon, and we'll get you home." That was music to my ears, and I think at that moment, I knew there was something there. March 10th, 2014 is my clean date. March 11th, 2014, my son, Carter Zane Daniel, was born. The moment that I had Carter and that nurse brought him over to me, again, I knew there's a power greater than me, but at that moment that my son was in my arms for that very first time, I felt that power. I felt him. And I knew right there and then I needed to make a decision for myself, for my son. I had gotten an invite to come to the Experience Church. Easter 2014, I woke up and I had this just thought and this feeling in me that I needed to go to church. Once we got here and we seen the music and we seen the people and we seen how we were welcomed in, it was like something just pulling me into the Experience Church, and I just wanted to be here every Sunday. At the end of the service, when Tim says, if you want to let Jesus into your life, raise your hand at the count of 3. The first service that I had ever went to, and he had said that, I raised my hand, and as soon as my hand was up in the air, I felt just different. It felt like 1,000 pounds were taken off my shoulders. My hole that had been growing for so long from all these resentments and all this anger and the lack of faith in my life, it felt like my hole was closing and my heart was growing. And I know who that higher power is, and I know who had my back all these years now. But the moment I walked into TE and that first hug I got, I knew this is where I belong, and I know this is a place I can call home. That now I have faith, I have hope. I'm not scared to wake up anymore. I can go day by day and know that I'm not alone. I'll never have to be alone again. I'm Jenny, and I'm no longer a slave to addiction.